Welcome to our news and thank you for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Topping news tonight, the announcement that BPL will be rolling out incremental rate increases surprised many this morning, including union leader Kyle Wilson, who says the union was in the dark on the situation. Marlena Leonard spoke with Wilson as well as BPL customers today about the surprise announcement. She filed this report.
President of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Kyle Wilson, says he found out at the same time as the public about the increase to BPL's rates.
Totally in the dark on this one. I have no information whatsoever. And so, like I said, I have to speak with the powers that be to shed a little light on it, because I've been contacted like relentlessly this morning to be asked about the issues, and I can't answer because no one officially informed the union as to what is taking place.
Wilson says that while he has a good relationship with BPL Chairman Pedro Roll, he still plans to speak with him about the oversight. He added that now is an opportune time to push for more renewable energy.
I personally have spoken out about renewables and trying to find ways to harness the resources that we have here in the Bahamas to lower the cost of energy.
We also took to the streets to get the public's opinion on this morning's announcement. Terrence Bowe is a systems analyst and says he expected the increases eventually.
I'm kind of disappointed because, everything's really bad for everybody right now. But with them raising the cap, it kind of eases it a bit.
Barbara Wilson, a director in pharmaceutical sales, echoed Wilson's call for more use of renewable energy.
I heard the Prime Minister's pronouncement this morning. I thought it was nice that he came out himself to say what was going to be. I was not surprised, though. I expected this for a long time. And I do believe that aggressive moves have to be made to see to it that we conserve energy and use alternative sources. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised.
But for this retired man who wished to remain anonymous,
I feel as though that, any increase right now, we just had the pandemic and people are not fully back to work. And so that any increase would have an effect on one's budget.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Thanks, Marlena. Now, BPL CEO Siobhan Cambridge advising the public that disconnectors have the right to access electricity meters. The advisory came after this photo, while a photo made its rounds on social media showing a BPL employee in a physical altercation with a man believed to be a Paradise Island resident. Cambridge says if there is a concern about an employee accessing your compound, to contact the office.
BPL's disconnectors have a right to access our meters, and they also have a right not to be interfered with. If you have any concern about their, right to be on your property, or any identification or uniforming that they may have on, you feel free to call into our customer services offices to confirm the operator and their location.
Please note to union members, Bahamas Electrical Workers Union President Kyle Wilson cautioning his members to be careful and defend themselves if necessary. Wilson says he does not like what he saw, adding that legislation should be put in place to protect workers.
Please do not put your hands on BPL workers. They're just executing their duties. And based on that, I'm going to ask and push towards seeing legislation put in place to protect workers in the execution of their duties from third-party interference. It's just like in the United States. It's a federal offense to attack a mailman or to bother with a mailman. And so I think we need to put laws in place that are going to further attack persons who are out in the community, who are exposed and vulnerable from being attacked. I didn't like what I see.
A warm evening in the capital tonight. Meteorologist Greg Thompson has a look at our latest conditions in the Weather Center.
Thanks, Natalia, and welcome everybody for a look at weather and conditions outside our studios right now. Temperatures are in the low 80s, 81 outside with, we call it mostly cloudy skies. More like partly cloudy. North-northwest winds at 8 miles per hour on your field-like temperature, factoring the relative humidity. It's very dry out there, so it feels kind of cool on the outside. Satellite view, frontal boundary hanging out across the southeast Bahamas. A lot of showers and thunderstorms associated with that affecting Inagua, the Meguan, as well as Trix and Caicos Islands. It's starting to fall apart right now, but we do have a frontal boundary, a reinforcing one to the north of the Bahamas that will eventually merge with the system down in the southeast, and that should usher in a nice change in our air mass. Cooler temperatures expected tonight and tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, a new direction. The education director takes up a new role in higher education. A positive outlook for the Bahamas as the World Bank takes the region's economic temperature. But first, what the Teachers Union president has to say about changes at the Ministry of Education. Stay with us. Now to that developing story we've been following for you tonight. 2 suspects are in custody tonight following the shooting of an off-duty officer. We are now being told that officer is in serious condition, but stable, rather. Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Christine Skippings telling Our News the incident happened at a business establishment, on Wolf Road. She says the officer was later taken to hospital. Now you can continue to follow this story on all of our social media pages and at ournews.bs. Tune in tomorrow at Our News at 7. A bus driver is dead and a teen passenger is in hospital after police say a passenger opened fire as he was exiting a jitney on Robinson Road this morning. Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Christine Skipping says the incident unfolded around 10 a.m.
As he exited the bus, he approached the driver, fired a shot at the driver, killing him on scene. We are investigating, as mentioned, and again we sent a plea out to members of the public who reside in this immediate area, who may have seen something. You may have seen a vehicle leaving the area at a high rate of speed. You may have seen a suspect that may have exited the bus. We want you to reach out to the officers of the Criminal Investigation Department.
While other passengers were on board the bus. Skipping says the 32-year-old bus driver died at the scene and adds police have an idea of who the victim is because his mother showed up saying it was her son who had been killed. Meantime, the 16-year-old who was shot in the ambush was taken to hospital. His condition was not released. Now, this is just the latest in a string of violent crimes pushing the country's murder count above the triple digits.
Family members need to collaborate and to reach out into partnership with the Royal Bahamas Police Force. That is the only way we're going to be able to get the weapons from off of the streets. Once we get the weapons off of the streets, then we'll see a more safer and more peaceful society. Firearms of themselves are harmless. It is actually the person behind the weapon that makes it dangerous.
Police releasing the IDs of 4 homicide victims, the murders all taking place between September 28th and October 2nd. The first victim is identified as 49-year-old Andre Kiki Vacaris. Police say the Pinewood Gardens resident was shot and killed in Crossing Rock, Abaco. The second victim identified by police is 27-year-old Daquan Lundy of Malcolm Road. Lundy was shot multiple times on Hilltop Lane off JFK Drive. And 19-year-old Candace Clark, who was shot at Junkanoo Village on Arawak Key, is victim number 3. A 20-year-old man was granted $6,000 bail today after he was charged with a rape he allegedly committed as a teenager. Prosecutors say Skylar Saunders, then 15, had unlawful sexual intercourse with a 14-year-old girl against her will in September of 2018. Saunders did not have to enter a plea to the unlawful sexual intercourse charge when he made his initial court appearance before Assistant Chief Magistrate Sowasola Swain. The matter was adjourned to December 5th for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. He was granted bail late this afternoon by a Supreme Court judge. Director of Education Marcellus Taylor is demitting office on October 10th. The announcement was made by the Ministry of Education this morning. The ministry says Taylor will join the Bahamas Government and Public Policy Institute at the University of the Bahamas, where he will be a senior policy fellow. In his new role, Taylor will contribute to creating public policy for national development. The statement also announced that Dominique McCartney Russell will assume the post of acting director once Taylor demits office. McCartney Russell, who holds a master's degree in organizational learning and leadership, is currently a district superintendent in Abaco. Now, the Bahamas Union of Teachers president, responding to the resignation of Director of Education, Wilson wished him well and says she hopes for improved communication between the Department of Education and the union.
We wish him well in his future endeavors. And it is our hope that his replacement comes to the position with an open mind, ready to engage stakeholders such as the Bahamas Union of Teachers, and that she will adopt an inclusive approach and improve the communication between the Department of Education and the Bahamas Union of Teachers.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When our news comes back from the break, Greg Thompson is back in the Weather Center with a breakdown of what's going on in the tropics.
Coming up in sports for you tonight, the University of the Bahamas hosting its first ever cross-country meet. Went pretty well. We'll also tell you about Monday coming up in sports.
And later, a top World Bank official insisting things are looking up for the Bahamian economy with a near 10% growth projection for 2022. The details when our news returns. This is our news. Welcome back. A top World Bank official insisting things are looking up for the Bahamian economy as there is an 8% growth projected in 2022 and 4.1% growth in 2023. World Bank Latin America and the Caribbean chief economist William Maloney gave the assessment while speaking during a press conference where he delivered the regional economic review.
Yes, Bahamas has had some bad weather. But they're doing relatively well this year.
The World Bank's officials' comments came weeks after the United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean revised its economic growth projection for the Bahamas to 8.5%. It's the second highest growth projection in the region. Maloney says it's no secret as the region has had a rough few years.
We were hit second hardest in the world by COVID overall. And then the Ukraine crisis has hit some countries especially hard. So that said, the responses of the monetary authorities and the governments of the region have in general showed a lot of resilience. You know, we've faced a set of very difficult circumstances, I think much better than we would have 20 years ago. And that's something to be glad about how we've progressed in that dimension.
Another athletic milestone for the University of the Bahamas as it hosts its first cross-country meet. Meanwhile, the 49ers making short work of the defending NFL champs in Monday Night Football. Marcellus Hall is up now with a check on sports. Marcellus.
Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. This past weekend, a pretty busy one, as you mentioned, for the University of the Bahamas, and a first for them as well. First time ever hosting the cross-country championship, and they did so in grand style. Let's take a look and see how things went down. UB Mingos hosting the first ever UB cross-country invitational over the weekend, and had reason to celebrate, and not just because of a successful meet. Mingos cross-country and long-distance specialist Levine Joseph won the open men's division, running the 5K race in 13 minutes 59 seconds. Olympic gold medalist Ramon Miller took second in 14 minutes, 36 seconds, and Canold Jean finished third for UB in a photo finish with Roadrunners runner Jackson Ozai. Mingo's Dennis Williamson rounding out the top 5. Inaugural champ Joseph said he was excited for the win.
I was confident. This race was much shorter than the other races we did abroad. 2.5 miles. It's within my specialty. I'm an 800-meter runner, and usually all the mid-distance races are more towards my lane.
Meanwhile, and of course, make sure you can keep track of all the action by signing up for our Rev Sunday ticket, courtesy of Rev. And you get that trio package. Just opt in. It's free of charge. And there it is, a check on sports for you here on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Italia.
Don't go away. Possible rain showers coming up this week. The extended outlook is still to come. Our news returns in a moment. Our chances of rain increase the closer we get to the long holiday weekend. Greg is back in the Weather Center with your extended weather outlook. Greg?
Thanks, Natalia, and welcome back, everybody. Look at the tropics right now. We do have 2 systems that we're monitoring for some formation over the next 5 days. Both of them showing a very high chance for formation. First one is the one that's approaching the Windward Islands. Showers and thunderstorms are becoming a little better organized right now. You notice the big blow-up of convection associated with that system. That system will continue to track towards the west and should stay south of us. We'll show that in a short while. But the other system out there in the open Atlantic, the National Hurricane Center, also giving that a high chance for formation. That one will stay in the Atlantic and away from most land masses. So we're not going to really worry about that one too much. But that one down there, the Windward Islands, the National Hurricane Center is actually tracking that towards the west. Ridge of high pressure will be building across the southeast United States and across the Bahamas. And that will continue to allow the system to move towards the west. It should stay south of us. Steering winds will continue to be from east to west, but that high is going to stay in place over the next couple of days. So by the end of the week, we expect that system to gather some energy and stay in the Caribbean and possibly become our next tropical storm or tropical depression. Boating forecast for the northwest Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Small craft use caution. We have some swells out there lingering. North to northeast winds at 10 to 15 knot seas running 2 to 4 feet, but up to 6 feet along Atlantic exposed shorelines. Your low tide will be at 10:26 tonight. For the center and southeast Bahamas, caution flag for you guys down there as well. Lighter winds, variable at 5 to 10 knots. Your seas running 1 to 3 feet in sheltered areas, but up to 6 feet, mainly along Atlantic exposed shorelines. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your 7-day planner, isolated showers expected in the forecast, but as that frontal boundary pushes to the south and merges with the one across the southeast Bahamas, more showers still in the forecast up until early next week, but we expect conditions to be improving by the middle of next week. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
Thanks, Greg. Be sure to join us now at half-hour early weekdays for our news at 7 with Condino Knowles. And to get all of today's top stories, visit our newly launched websites at ournews.bs. And with that, we thank you for joining us. For Our News Tonight, on behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.